the philosophy of karma is very deep, and the philosophy of karma is deep when you understand, there are many aspects to this depth of the philosophy of karma. And what occurs to me today is, when we talk about karma, it is not just what we do with our hands and with our body or the acts that we physically perform, but in the core of those acts, not even our thoughts, but the intentions, the deep place from where that karma originates, the seed, that's the intention. And when the intention, the seed, is of a particular kind, then the fruit is according to the seed. And you see that sometimes, when you look at the plant, on the outside it may look like a very healthy plant, but the root, the seed is soiled and weak. And then the plant is not as healthy as it appears. Similarly, we may sometimes engage in actions which apparently look like, noble actions. But when you check the seed, the intention, then you understand that, that whether that action is really a good action or a bad action, good karma, bad karma. And therefore, in very simple terms, if I explain one aspect of the depth of the philosophy of karma, it is that actions are defined by intentions. So the quality of an act, the quality of a karma is determined by the quality of the intention. So actions are defined by intentions, and intentions, again, very to understand intentions, you have to understand the original nature of the soul. Yes, you have to understand knowledge, because only when intentions are aligned with the original nature of the soul and the original purpose of humanity, only then can those intentions be considered as noble. And what is the original nature of the soul? The original nature of the soul is purity. Yes, and what is the original purpose of human existence? So it is, being a world server, so being a giver. So if the intentions are coming from purity, if the intention is rooted in purity, and the intention is rooted in being a giver, then that action is noble. And what is the sign of good karma? Good karma will give you happiness. Good karma will not give you sorrow. And good karma, and it's not like temporary happiness or pleasure. It's about that deep, super sensuous joy that you feel, that deep happiness of the heart which you feel when you do good karma. That is good karma. So you see that it is the intention which defines the action, and because of the intention, the action becomes a good karma or a bad karma. And then because of that action, you will receive a reward. And then the reward will tell you whether it was good karma or bad karma. And I always give this example, which is very interesting, that, someday when you're walking down the street, you see a beggar. And then you decide that, I should give something to the beggar to eat. And you take out your freshly packed lunch, which is in your tiffin, and you put it in their begging bowl. And what kind of karma are you doing there? Good karma? Yes, people would say that this is very good karma, that you're giving something to someone who is hungry. But then what happens in the next moment is the beggar takes it and puts it in the dustbin right before your eyes. He throws it away in the dustbin. And then what do you feel? You feel sorrow. Maybe anger also, but at least sorrow. And why did that karma give you pain if it was good karma? Yes. So, what was the intention behind that karma? The intention was not to give. The intention was that they should take. Yes, if your intention is just to give, then you are happy giving. Whether it is received, not received, doesn't matter. So, giving will give you happiness when the intention is only giving. Even if the intention is, I give and they should receive, even that will make you, make your heart ache. And if the intention is one step further, that I give and I should be rewarded back, yes, then it will cause more sorrow. Then again, if the intention is I would give, but I should be rewarded appropriately, according to what I think I deserve, then you will be in pain forever. Yes, so this is how, pain intensifies as your intention shifts from a giver to a righteous beggar. Yes, so there is this righteousness about begging, and people say that it is normal and very okay and very very just to expect an equal and opposite return. But Baba says, no, that return you will get from the universe, not from that one interaction. So your job is to give, and Baba says the job of the universe is to give it back to you. Don't teach the universe its job. Just do your job. You will be rewarded. But if you are stuck, if you don't understand the philosophy of karma, then you end up being a righteous beggar, and beggars cannot be choosers. They can never be happy. So, and then you keep, shouting and bickering that I always do everything for everyone and nobody is giving it back to me. But the thing is, none of that karma that you're doing is in the category of good karma, because your intention is to take. So that giving is just an illusion you are trying to create. Yes, so Baba says, for understanding intentions, you need knowledge. And knowing who am I, whose child am I, what is my nature, what is my capacity. So I am the child of the bestower. I, the soul, am master bestower, master data, and I have the capacity to give and give endlessly. And I will be rewarded appropriately by the universe. And because I'm doing it on Baba's directions, Baba will also reward me. And I will never get empty by giving. So when you know this, when you just know this in your heart, then your intentions are aligned with your original nature, the original scheme of things, and then your actions are good actions, and that then your the result you get will always be happiness, because happiness is happiness is the product of good karma. And sometimes, what looks like a good karma may not be a good karma because it's not coming from the intention of happiness, just from the intention of giving, just like I told you. Yes? So I gave you one example of that. Now, sometimes, an action may not look like an act of giving, but when you sit with that intention, it's good karma. So, when you just, and one example, one very big example of that is Mansa Seva, service through the mind that Baba teaches us. What is service through the mind? You are just sitting in silence, in soul consciousness, in remembrance of Baba. And in remembrance of Baba, you are in a very powerful, elevated stage. And in that stage, you create an intention that the world should receive peace, happiness from Baba through me. And you create that visual that the world, which is suffering and in pain, is receiving Baba's love, peace, purity, happiness, power through me. And just that intention, when you are in that stage, powerful stage, because, when you want to be a giver, the first and only requirement is you're full. Yes, how can you give without being full? And when are you full? When you are in remembrance of the ocean. So when you're with Baba, when you are in Baba's remembrance, then you are in your state of fullness. Peaceful, loveful, knowledgeful, full of purity, full of power. And in that stage, when you just create an intention that I intend to radiate what Baba is filling me with to every soul brother on the planet, then that intention creates very good karma. And have you seen that when you do Mansa Seva, you feel very happy? Yes, you feel very happy. And there is even, when you sit 10 seconds in this powerful stage and just think about radiating this strength to the world, then you receive a lot of happiness. Why? Because that's good karma. And anybody who sees you cannot even know it's karma. And I remember when I came to Gyan, I had no idea what Brahma Kumars and Kumaris do in meditation. And I would always ask Santosh Bhai, what do you people do when you sit and you meditate and you think that is great world service? Why don't you people get up and do something actually? And I would tell him, why don't you go build a school or a hospital or something for humanity? Why are you people wasting your youth and your energy just sitting and, having this fancy idea that we are serving the world through sitting? And he would say, I don't have answers to your questions. You go to the center if you want to find out. And and I would always wonder, these people are doing nothing and hiding their um, their capacity to not do anything behind this veil that we are serving humanity through meditation. And I really had no idea that what is karma, what is the deep philosophy of karma, and how, just having pure intentions in a powerful state is such huge karma that it can give you happiness and it can make the world a better place, even when physically you are not doing anything. And this is why, the human, what do you say, the human fixation with action is a is false. So sometimes this whole humanity today is very fixated with this idea that you have to do, not sit, you have to keep doing something, keep doing something. But then even if you do a lot, it might not translate into good karma if you are not coming from a powerful place within. If the place from which that karma is originating is not knowledgeful, peaceful, loveful, powerful, and the intention is not that of a giver, then even if you are doing all day, it may not be good karma. And sometimes, and most of the time, that is bad karma, because when you say karma, it is act, but that same act can be a cause of suffering, and that same act can relieve you of suffering and bring you to happiness. So just acts, there is this misinterpretation where people say work is worship. So just do is not what you need to do, because check what you're doing, where is it coming from, and if that place from where your words, your actions are coming is not peaceful, powerful, knowledgeful, and your intentions are not that of a giver, then whatever you are doing is actually creating karmic burden rather than doing any good. And I always share this example that once I was traveling by a shared cab, and then there was this, I was coming back from office, and there was a shared cab, and there was another person who got up from another office, and he was carrying this bunch, this pile of files with him, and he kept looking at those files while he was in the cab. And I was just watching him, and I thought, it is so interesting that this person is carrying official work to home and he's doing it. And I asked him, this is office work that you're carrying home? So he said, yes. So I said, and you will finish it at home and bring it to office tomorrow? He said, yes. And I had such deep respect for him, and I really felt very good to meet him, and I was just sitting. And then he opened his mouth and he started abusing, his colleagues who don't work, his boss who gives him all the work, the government who is piling on him, and then the country, the whole world. He started abusing everybody on the planet just because he works a lot. And then I heard it all, and then I said, would you like me to tell you something as a sister? So he said, yes, tell me. So I said, please work less. So the world would be a better place if you worked a little less. So please don't do so much of work, because with every time you lift the pen, every time you read a file, every time you do some work, you are creating too much negative energy. So you are coming from a place where you are in ego, where you are in anger, where you are in the consciousness of a victim. And if your consciousness is so low then none of your actions can be good actions. None of your actions can be good karma. They cannot make you happy. They cannot make anybody give you blessings. And have you seen in this world there is a strange phenomena where people who are working the most are getting the opposite of blessings. Yes, because they are not doing so much work in peace or in happiness. They are doing it in ego. And when you do something in ego, then you know what the other person's thought process is? Let them slave and let them die slaving, because this person, when they work, they are creating a very heavy atmosphere, and although we need them, let us use them, but they are no good. So you will never receive blessings when you work with ego, because when you are in ego, then alongside the work you do, the words you speak and the vibrations you create are very negative. So this is why it is very important to understand the deep philosophy of karma. And this is one aspect of the deep philosophy of karma. The second aspect is karma is not limited to the present time. So, just like in the world, when you sow a seed, then some seeds take 24 hours to germinate. Some seed may take 6 months. Some seed may take 6 years to sprout. So it depends on the seed, how much time it will take to germinate. Similarly, karma is like a seed, and you sow the seed, you may get instant fruit, you may get fruit which is very long term. And this is why we don't understand the deep philosophy of karma, that karma, the consequence of karma, sometimes comes in the short term, sometimes in the middle term, sometimes in the long term. And this is why when we sow a seed, we do not know when it will give the fruit. Yes, and sometimes you receive a fruit today, and you say, in the last 1 month I have not sown this kind of a seed. Yes, so especially when the fruit is bitter, what do you say? I have not done anything. I have been so good in the past 1 month, never missed Amrit Vela also, listening to Murli also. Why did this happen to me? Because we don't understand the deep philosophy of karma. Yes, we don't understand that it can be a seed sown years earlier, maybe in past births. And what do you do when the fruit comes? You deal with it. Yes, so you don't ask, where did this fruit come from? Yes, a coconut falling from a tree, it can fall anytime if you're sitting under the tree. What do? You save yourself from the possibility of it breaking your head. You don't ask, who put this coconut on my head, and why should this fall at this time, and why shouldn't it fall when I left? You don't ask these questions, otherwise you'll end up breaking your head. So what you do is, any fruit can come at any time, so you are prepared to deal with it. And you know how to, protect yourself from it. You know how to respond to it. That's wisdom. So the deep philosophy of karma tells you that when a seed is planted, it can sprout any time, and you don't know when you planted it, but when the fruit comes, the only thing you can do is deal with it, and for that you need power. You need a knowledgeful, powerful state to deal with that fruit. And the second aspect of this point is, be very careful in planting the seed. Because every second now also you are planting seeds of karma. Yes, and you understood that good fruit can only come from seeds which have, with seeds which emerge from a place of knowledge and purity and power and the intention of giving. So we be very careful every second, because what you're planting now will keep coming to you in your later future years. So this is another aspect of the deep philosophy of karma, that karma is not like you did it today so you get it today, and after the clock rings 12, strikes 12, that karma is not allowed to bother you. No, it's not like that. It can come any time. But the only way to ensure that, in the future you have less karmic settlements is to take care of the seeds of karma you plant in the now. Every action, every thought, every word, every action that you do, check the intention. From where is it coming? Is it coming from ego? Is it coming from vice? Is it coming from the expectation that it should be received, the expectation that it would be rewarded? Or is it coming from a knowledgeful, peaceful, loveful, pure place where you do as you are? Doesn't matter what you get in return. You know yourself, you know whose child you are, and you act accordingly. Just that. So this is very important. So these are two aspects of the philosophy of karma, and the third aspect is so whenever there is a karmic settlement, you need power, you need strength, and that strength comes from God. So you cannot settle karmic accounts or do good karma without God. So these days people are trying to settle karmic accounts and do good karma without knowing Baba. Yes, you cannot do good karma or settle karmic accounts without knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, power. And if you want to have that, you have to tune into the source. So without God consciousness, settlement of old karmic accounts, dealing with the bitter fruit that's coming from way back, or planting a new seed of good karma is not possible. So all these attempts at just settling karma and sowing good seeds of karma without knowing Baba are fruitless. So karmic philosophy is very deeply integrated with knowing Baba, and through Baba knowing yourself, knowing the nature of time and everything else. So good karma and settlement of karma cannot happen without God. This is why Shiv Baba comes in Sangam Yuga, and he offers himself that I am here, you learn from me, you have yoga with me, you take power from me. And without Baba, you cannot have yoga. Without yoga, you cannot have power to settle good karma, power to settle past karma. You cannot have the power to do good karma. This is why Baba says, only with yoga you can burn away your sins, and only with yoga you can make sure you don't perform future sins, which is you become the conqueror of sins. So there are these two words in the Murli today that burn away your sins in yoga and be a conqueror of sins, which means don't create any further pap karma. And this is not possible without yoga. So the philosophy of karma and the knowing God and meditation are linked. You cannot do good karma without knowing Baba and remembering Baba. So this is one very big missing link. Because people want to know about karma, they don't want to know about Baba. But when you don't know Baba, when you don't remember Baba, you are not capable of doing good karma or settling the opposite. And I remember there was this one college, and I had gone to deliver a class on knowledge there, and when I asked them, "Are you interested in God?" they said no. And I said, "Are you interested in love and peace and joy?" They said yes. So I said, "How can you be interested in love and peace and joy and not in the source of love, peace, joy? So where will you get it from? The place where you're looking, you're not getting it because they don't have it. And the place where you're not looking has it all. So you have to know God if you're interested in love, peace and happiness." And then they started listening to me. So you have to know Baba if you want to settle your karma or you want to not make any further sinful action. So that's another deep thing about the philosophy of karma. So good karma can only be done in God consciousness. Yes, and soul consciousness is not possible without God consciousness. Because you don't know Baba, you don't know what a soul means, because the template for a soul is the Supreme Soul. So when you don't know the Father, how do you know what kind of a soul are you? And how can you be soul conscious without being Supreme Soul conscious? So you have to know Baba in order to understand what is a soul like, what is the nature of a soul like, how does a soul who is in its purity behave, because the template for that is Baba. So when you know how Baba talks, how Baba thinks, how Baba acts, then you know how a peaceful, powerful, knowledgeful soul behaves. And then you start copying that behavior and you become like that. So this is another thing about the deep philosophy of karma. And one more aspect I would like to talk about is the deep philosophy of karma doesn't take into consideration whether your act is done in action or in reaction. So when you did something out of vice, so maybe you spoke in anger, it doesn't matter whether somebody spoke in anger to you first or you did it first. When you speak in anger, you create vikarma. Even if 10,000 people have spoken to you in anger before that, that doesn't justify your anger. Yes, two wrongs do not make a right. That's the philosophy of karma. But in the world, we have come up with this strange, philosophy and this strange belief system that if you do a sin in reaction, then it is not a sin. Yes, people are all the time telling you, they slapped you first, you slapped in response, good, no problem. You're settling karma. No, you're not settling karma, you're creating bad karma. They slap you, you don't slap back, that is settlement of karma. Yes. And another aspect of body consciousness which has been introduced is they slap you, you ask them to slap you more. No. You don't ask them to slap you more. That is again ego. So you save yourself, and if they are able to hit you, you let it go. You save yourself, safety first. But if in that whole, attempt, somebody is able to hit you, don't hit back. Just tolerate it. That's settlement of karma. So every karma done in action, in reaction, if it is coming from a place of vice, not from a place of virtues, not from a place of the intention of a giver, then that karma is evil karma. Doesn't matter who did it first. So don't go into this lame belief system of the world that, when you are doing something in reaction, it makes it all right. And that's not the way to settle karma. That's not the way to settle karma. And whoever told you that taught you wrong. That by slapping back you are settling karmic account. No. So these are some of the points that are related to the deep philosophy of karma. And then Baba says, I teach you the difference between neutral actions, sinful actions, and powerful elevated actions. So elevated actions we understood, sinful actions we understood. What is neutral action? Neutral action happens only in the two yugas of Satyuga and Treta Yuga. In the golden age and silver age, there is neutral action. There is no possibility of neutral action in Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. So there is only neutral action in the two first phases, Satyuga and Treta Yuga. Neutral actions take place when there is no Maya. So when you are ignorant of vices, only then can you have neutral actions. But when you know vices, then either you are under their influence or you are overpowering their influence. If you are under their influence, that's sinful action. If you are winning over the influence, that is good action. It is not neutral. So neutral action only happens when there is no awareness of Maya, there are no vices, and that happens only in the first two phases, which is Satyuga and Treta Yuga, because in those two yugas there is no Maya. Okay, Om Shanti.